Hey there, I've got a little bit of a break between meetings, working from home right now, and I thought I would do a little tour of like my home office setup and specifically how we've been able to live stream from home using Microsoft Yammer as well as Microsoft Teams for the remote guest portion of our show. So right now I'm in my craft room here. This is kind of my little like home office area. If I kind of spin around, there's my desk in the corner. Kind of got little 3D printers behind me, products and stuff that my wife and I have been working on for our side business, our wood shop. And we've kind of converted this into a home office. And I've been going live on Yammer starting today, every day, to help our associates out with tips and tricks with using Office 365, information about working remote in general as a way to support them during this time. So I'm going to flip the camera around here real quick and kind of show the layout that I've got. It's kind of my battle station for doing live events. So let's flip this around here and show you a view of my desk. So to back up a little bit, there's my desk with my chair. It is not a very comfortable chair, but it looked cool when I bought it. I wish I had a little bit more comfortable of one. But this is kind of the overall setup. I've got my my laptop right there connected to a 34-inch ultra-wide screen, and then got just like my my mouse and trackpad right there at the bottom, along with this Logitech or Elgato Stream Deck XL. And once that gets logged in here, there's those buttons that kind of controls the stream, as well as a bunch of other shortcuts that I have on it. I'll talk about that in a moment. I have my Surface headphones. Those are hardwired in because I'm splitting audio for the live event, and I'll show that in a moment as well. And then this is the encoder that we're using. This is the Epiphan Pro Mini. This is what is powering our self-service live events that we're making available to our associates, and I thought I need to set that up over a Teams live event or over an OBS setup, just so I can have a dedicated box doing all of my encoding and streaming and recording and all that cool stuff. So into this box right here, this just says power and Ethernet built into it. I've got Google Fiber at home. So I've got gigabit Ethernet. I've got a switch behind the desk. It's got 8 ports on it. And one of those is going to the laptop, and one of those is going to the Pearl Mini. If I run a speed test, I'm getting 990-something megabits down and up as well. So it's nice and fast. I got plenty of bandwidth to use here. So Ethernet and power. And then I've got 2 HDMI plugs plugged into this. One of them is for the laptop. That's, so I can share my screen and show demos of how to do things. And then the other one is HDMI, which is going to this guy here. That's my G85, Panasonic G85 mirrorless camera. And that is set up so that it can be, my face camera. So if I'm sitting down here, that's kind of the view that you get there from the side. And then on top of that, for audio, I've got the PicoMic from Pico Gear, and that's got 2 microphones on it. Of course, I'm just using one, and I've got it hard powered as well. And this camera has a dummy battery in it as well, so nothing is running on battery at all. Nothing to worry about there. The other Logitech camera here, that is for my Teams meetings. So that one is going into my laptop, and that's just what I use, day in and day out for my Teams meetings on top of my monitor. The other one's dedicated to live streaming. So that's 2 HDMIs in here, one for the camera, one for the screen. And then the only other thing I've got is a 3.5mm connector for an audio cable that is going to my phone right there. So that's how I'm playing pre-show, post-show music in these layouts that we've got. So to go through these layouts, I've just got a couple simple layouts here. I've got a pre-show scene, which is just a title slide. It says preparing to work from home, because that was kind of the subject of our talk this morning, and has today's date. And then this is also playing background music from my phone, so that gives people something to listen to when I go live, 10 minutes early or whatever. And then I can switch to the camera view, and then that's kind of the full, you know, hey everybody, welcome to our live event type of a setup that I can show there. And then I've got a split screen view, which is this guy right here, and that's got that ultra wide monitor on top with my camera on the bottom. Now, whenever I have a guest on here, what I'm doing is I'm taking Microsoft Teams on my screen right here, and I'm doing that call with the person, so we're like on, you know, top and bottom like that, and the guest is like larger on the screen, so that looks pretty good. And then I can also demo that way by showing my screen. I can, you know, walk through something on OneDrive or Teams or Yammer or whatever we're talking about. I can also do full screen, which is just, again, ultra wide, so it's a little bit skinnier, so I've got kind of a textured background to kind of take up space there. And then finally, the last layout that I have is this one, which is the post show. Just says thanks for watching. Again, it has music. So across all these, the kind of three scenes that I've got, or the three layouts that I've got, is the camera, the screen, and then a split of the camera plus the screen. And then all three of those, they have the laptop audio and my microphone audio on them. So you can hear me talking, you can also hear the guest and all of that. So that's the setup for that. The two kind of strange things that I have going on with that to grab my screen as well as to grab my audio, I'll show how that's configured on my Mac here real quick. So over here on my Mac, I had two things that I needed to figure out. The first was the display. So if I go to my displays, I've got the big monitor, the laptop, and then I've got another HDMI right here that is coming out into the Pearl Mini. So I basically got three displays, right? I've got the laptop plus two separate displays. And I found out that on Mac OS, what you can do is you can choose to mirror only certain displays. So I am doing that here by you hold down Alt or the Option key if you're on a Mac keyboard, and then you drag the two screens that you want to mirror. And so my laptop screen is separate, and then the Pearl Mini, that one is mirroring what is on my big ultra wide. So that's how I'm getting exactly what's in front of my face onto the live stream as well. So I liked that because then I can, you know, actually see what I'm driving and see what I'm doing. The only other thing that I have here is this audio MIDI setup. So I needed a way to hear the guest as well as to hear my screen through here. So I needed to hear it, the stream needed to hear it, and in order to do that, there's a built-in utility called Apple MIDI setup, and that I have a multi-output device set up right here. So I hit the plus sign like that, I created a multi-output, and I have my headphones plus my monitor, or plus the Pearl Mini HDMI. So I've basically combined my headphones and the HDMI to the Pearl Mini so that I can hear the call without hearing myself. So I'm not using, down here, I'm not using the headphone jack on here because then I would hear myself talking back and that would kind of throw me off. Instead, my headphones, they're plugged into my laptop, and I'm basically combining those inputs so that you can hear it on the stream and I can hear the call that I have going on. And I just basically, I bring up Teams right here in the middle, so I've got a talking head that I can talk to. They see me through this webcam right here, so I'm looking at them when I'm talking, and we're just having a conversation, and we're basically capturing that and putting it into the Pearl Mini so that we can send it off to Yammer. I think that's about it. The only other things here, just two things I guess, is I have my iPad Pro right here. I'm using this for the Yammer comments that we get. So as comments come in, I'm able to monitor those and see those. I usually put the show notes or the run of show up on this laptop screen. So I've got that screen nobody can see and this screen down here that nobody can see. So I can kind of monitor those things. And then this is the Stream Deck XL. Basically, I am using Companion. This is the version 2 beta of Companion from BitFocus. And that works with Epiphan. So because I'm on the same network as the Epiphan Pearl Mini, I was able to connect to it. And then I've got this first button here just launches the Pearl Mini interface. So if I sign in there, it just launches up the Pearl Mini. And then the other buttons here, this is for pre-show, then camera, split screen, screen only, and post-show. So right now we're sitting on the post-show. If I click camera only, that switches it to camera only. So that gives me physical buttons to press that are right in front of me, so I don't have to look down at the screen. And then the last two buttons right here, this is for the Yammer streaming configuration. So it just says Yammer streaming. That's how I start and stop streaming over to Microsoft Stream. And then the recording, this is just starts and stop the local recording. So what I do is I set this up, and Microsoft Stream does a 720p feed out to Yammer, and I do it live, and do all the questions. And when the shows end, when the show ends, what I do is I take that recording off of the Pearl Mini, so I download that through the web interface, and then I use the replace video feature in Microsoft Stream to actually upload a 1080p version of that and replace the 720p one with a 1080p one. And that's processing right now from our show earlier today. That way, if people watch it on demand, it'll be a higher quality version. It doesn't change any of the links that got sent out or anything like that. And that's a huge help. And finally, to end it out on these last two rows, we've got basically just launchers here for Teams, Yammer, Outlook, OneDrive, and SharePoint. And then Microsoft To Do. This right here is a bunch of shortcuts for web shortcuts that I have. I've got Spotify, my virtual desktop through Citrix that auto launches that. And then I've got a bunch of Yammer auto replies, which basically takes a bunch of text like a link to how to log an SR, a link to like certain videos or kind of FAQs. So I got a bunch of Yammer auto replies. This guy opens up a companion, so I can configure these buttons. This one opens up H2R graphics, which I'm not using for this setup. I would use it for like the A10 Mini from Blackmagic Design. And then this bottom one right here, this is the little guy from BBC. It says blur. That one will blur my Microsoft Teams call, so I can use that to hit that keystroke to blur my background. But you know, I definitely wear pants. Trust me, I'm wearing pants right now.
In the Zoom app itself.
Yeah. You probably heard one of my kids screaming right now. That's my 2-year-old. He's having a good time. I typically join either from Outlook, and you can go right here to Devices, and under Devices you can select what your speaker is, what your microphone is, and then you can hit Make a Test Call. His background blur on real quick, and basically what that does is it will pick you out and it will blur everything else behind you. It's kind of like a fake green screen effect.
It's in our Yammer group, so if we're not live talking to you, you can post a question there, and we'll try and get you the best help we can. So other than that, I think that's all I have.
Okay, cool. So that's an overview of my setup here at home. We had a really good show today, and we're going to try to do a daily show for everybody to kind of help them out. So I thought I would just share how I'm getting it done, because it was really, really successful, and hopefully it continues to be so. Thanks for watching.